Alright, so this is the longest ramble, part 1. Now, there's going to be quite a few parts. I don't know how many, so that's why it's part 1 right now. These videos are going to be about 15 minutes long, because YouTube just updated, so I can do the 15-minute videos. First one, actually. Mainly I'm going to talk about Tyranids in the tournament scene, the metagame, my idea for Tyranids, talk about some other people's armies from like the ETC. I'll put a list up and talk about it. It's just going to be a continuing just talk about tournament scenes and Tyranids. Now, a lot of people, it's kind of brutal, the video, if you're a casual player. It's just from a more tournament perspective. Most of the time, I do like playing casual games and stuff, but when you go to tournaments, it's not exactly 40k. It becomes a little more intense in terms of, like, if you read like Blood of Kittens or Bell of Lost Souls, tournaments are, people take it a step further. Alright, so Tyranids in the tournament scene, I'm just gonna say it, Tyranids are pretty much tier 2. If you don't like tiers, deal with it. Tier 1 right now is like Wolves, Blood Angels, Mechanized IG. You can kind of say, oh no dude, yeah, Tyranids can deal with them. Yes, they can. But take a balanced Space Wolf list and plating as a balanced, fun, friendly Tyranid list. That's not working out. Tyranids have to actually sit there, and you gotta spam stuff to even be like on par with some of the other armies. We struggle against the most popular army choice. Not a single army, but just mechanized armies in general. If you start looking across table 6, 7 vehicles, there's already a problem. If you're not packing 9 Hive Guard, there's a problem. If you're not spamming Trigons, there's a problem. Majority of our codex can't kill vehicles. Alright, so to beat these mech lists, we literally have to pick a certain number of units out of our codex to deal with them. We ignore the majority of our codex and just spam the same units. Hive Guard. Okay, go look at tournament lists. Let's see, like WarGamesCon or any of those tournament lists, the ETC. Lots of 6 Hive Guard, 9 Hive Guard, 6 Hive Guard, 3 zones, and or this one, 9 Hive Guard. Tervagons, you see 2 to 3 Tervagons almost in every list. Trigons. Oh look, 3 Trigons in that list. Oh whoa, okay. You'll see spam Gene Stealers, anywhere from 40 to 60 Gene Stealers. Why? Well, they're kind of like Seekers of Sinesh. They sit there and they rend vehicles. Death Stars with Tyrants, 3 Guard, Warrior Prime. That's common. Why? Because it's really killy against vehicles and it doesn't die. More Hive Guard and like Doom. You'll see Doom in a lot of lists. Yeah, it's not great versus mech, but it's one of our cheesy units, so we spam it. Okay, so it's kind of sad that Tyranids are that way, but you look at the tournament scene and yeah, I just, like, if I play a game or whatever, I started only using a squad of 3 Hive Guard, and I was using Zone Throps and stuff, or like I was playing around with Doom Gene Stealers. I really couldn't kill vehicles. I was having trouble against, oh look, 3-4 Rhinos. Yeah, I wouldn't really be able to kill them. I'd kill like one. Oh, you smoked over there. Okay, I can't really do that. It started to piss me off. My idea for Tyranids is you gotta just make an army that can kill mechanized army. Like, alright, so say I go to a tournament. Out of the 5 games I play, like GT or whatever, I'll sit there, oh cool, I'll play 2 Marine players, an Eldar player, an Imperial Guard player, and then a Horde Orc player. Now, the Guard player, Mech IG, 3 Hydras, 2 Manicores, 4 Chimeras, 2 Vendettas, all that fun stuff. The Eldar player, he's got Eldred, like unit of 2 units of 2 Vipers, 2 Wave Serpents with Dire Avengers with Blaze Storm, I don't know, another Wave Serpent with Fire Dragons, and then like 2 those Night Spinner things, like lists like that. And I would be like, oh man. The Marine players, one will be a Vulcan list, the other one will be like I don't know, a White Scars army, or like a full bike army or something like that, or say just a mechanized vanilla Marine army. Okay, so okay, that's cool. And the Horde Orc player will be like Gazikul and spammed Orcs and Ludus, fun stuff. Alright, so out of those 5 games, I get absolutely, usually brutally killed by the Horde Orcs. The IG, I'll probably end up drawing, and the 2 Marine players, I can probably beat them. It depends, I may draw. The Eldar player, probably a draw. If I brought a really balanced Tyranid list, like a little bit of Zone Throps, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Now let's see. What armies shut down my psychic powers? the two Marine players, the Eldar player, and the Guard player pretty much shut down my Psychic. Like, all powers. If I had Zoanthropes, Eldar. Oh, cool, you got the Spirit Stones or whatever on Eldrad. Wonderful. I'm really not Warp Blasting ever. The two Marine players, both of them usually have Librarians, and they're usually in Land Raiders, and they're usually in the middle of the board after turn 1. So I may be able to get a little Catalyst off, but if I want a Deep Strike right near there in a pod with some zones, oh look, you gotta hood me. Oh, okay. And then against Imperial Guard, they used to have the turret or whatever, the little hood you can get for the Guard, but now you can't ally with that. So I'm kind of happy about that. So yeah, not super happy about that. So yeah, Zoanthropes work wonderfully on Horde Orcs. Yeah, that's really cool, man. Yeah, that doesn't do anything for me. Alright, so if you make an army that can beat the army you're most likely to play against in a tournament, you'll probably win the majority of your games. So if I sit there and spam Hiveguard, and then spam Trigons, like the Godhammer list example, I'll do wonderful. I'll roll the Marines. It's just like, oh yeah, have a little trouble with Land Raiders, the Eldar. Oh cool, you got Wave Serpents. See what Hiveguard do to them. Against the Guard, I'll just sit there. We'll trash back and forth. Maybe a minor victory, maybe a draw. I'll be able to at least throw down and do some damage to him. Get the Horde Orcs player, I'm gonna lose horribly. It's just inevitable. The list can't deal with it. So I play an extreme list because that extreme list will beat the army I'll play in the majority of the tournament. Another thing is tournaments have a lot to do with who plays who. I went to a Rogue Trader event, won 3 games by Massacres. I played against Deathwing, Walking Tau within Ethereal and like Walking Fire Warriors, and then Slogging Templars. Of course I won all games. The only problem was, oh cool, I managed to not play against the 2 Mech Guard players there, and I didn't play against the Vulcan list there. I just managed to play people and dodge all the things that would have brutally beaten me into the ground and lost horribly. I managed to get 3 just matchups that were just bad for the opponent, and yeah, I'm okay with that. I did win, but like, I sit there and play Guard player, it's really not, I'm not really looking at the win right there then. If I've never actually massacred a Mech Guard player. I've minor victoried, I've drawn mainly, but against a Mech Guard player who knows what he's doing, never actually straight up tabled him. I've been to a tournament where I played 2 back-to-back Vulcan lists with 2 Land Raider Redeemers, and then oh, the third game, oh, vanilla Space Marines. Oh, another Marine list. I brought a Steeler Shock with potting zones. There was no walking unit in all 3 games in the tournament. I lost 2 rounds, and then I drew the last one. And oh yeah, the potting zones. All of my opponents had Librarians. I got a few Warp Blasts off, and yeah, killed Rhino or something. Yeah, it wasn't that great. Taking a balanced list for Tyranids isn't the key in a tournament. It could work in the last edition, or in this edition I was trying to do it, like at the St. Val GC. I took a balanced list. It didn't really work out that well. Mechanicon took a balanced list. It didn't work out that well. It can work, but 40k in the tournament scene is it's a combination of spam versus spam, mirror army versus mirror army. Like, oh look, cool. 3 Hydras, 2 Medusas versus 3 Hydras, 2 Medusas, Guard, and you each have 2 Vendettas, and you have, this is very similar. Yeah, what's the difference exactly? Or, the Vulcan list, the one army I painted up for Tim Hudak. There's so many copy-paste of his list, it's not even funny. Oh, look, the difference is instead of 3 land speeders, you have 4 attack bikes. It's a really big difference. Yeah, it's kind of sad, but it's kind of like in 4th edition when it was how many assault cannons can I fit in the army? Just certain things in tournaments. Even in comp environments, you'll sit there and be like, oh look, it's a comp tournament, there's a comp score. Yeah, that's cool. You still have like 4 Razorbacks or something. It's just spam is just what 40k is in the tournament scene. Another thing is when matched up against certain armies, I'll play for the draw on turn 1. I'll sit down. One of the games I played was against this guy Al, who's one of the best IG players I know in my area. Alright, so I'm sitting here. First turn, I'm like, Al, I'm sorry, man. It's Dawn of War. Alright, this is gonna be kind of stupid, man. I sit there, shake his hand. We play the game. I put everything in reserve. I walk on the board. I sit behind buildings for 3 turns, and then turn 5, run out and contest a bunch of things and draw. It's what I couldn't run at him. If I ran at him, he has 4 chimeras full of plasma guns. He's got 2 units of 2 Medusas. I wasn't going to be able to fight in a straight fight against him, so I didn't even try. I literally just understood that I could not win if I ran at him, so I went for a draw, drew, and won the next 2 games and did rather well in the tournament. It's just I couldn't actually throw down with his army. My army wasn't good enough, which is kind of sad when you look at armies and you go, it's futile. Why would I run at you? I can't win. Yeah, it's not fluffy. People would say, like, yeah, it's not a fluffy way to play a tournament. Well, what? Fluffy means I run at them and die and lose? I've done that in 15, 20 games. Run at Mech IG, get there with half my army, sit there and try and kill vehicles that back up 6, move 12, and everything is hull-mounted heavy flamers, then I get burned to death. I've done the run 3 Trigons at Razor Wolves and get shot by just a stupid amount of plasma and last fire and killed. And just missiles just trolled me down. It was not a good game. I'm not even complaining about Tyranids. Just you need to do certain things. Like Tyranids, you got to get yourself out of the mindset of, oh yeah man, if I just got to rush them or I got to do this or whatever. There's just certain games you match up against. It's smart not to rush in and just die. I've actually had quite a few games where in the next video I'll talk about a list I've done where literally I sit back and shoot you, because it's like Tyrannofexes and Hive Guard. It's just, you can't really, if I'm getting there with a third less of my army, oh cool, so now it's like 1400 points on your 1850. It's just really stupid. Alright, Tyranids overall, Tyranids really can't cut it. As I said, like balanced NID, you go against balanced like an IG or Wolf army, it's really not working. Tyranids are mainly anti-infantry army. Look at the units in your codex. You got Doom, Hormagaunts, Gargoyles, Pyrovores. The Pyrovores, Tyrannofex without the Rupture Cannon, Docfexes, Hive Tyrant, Swarmlord. Those all units are really horrible against vehicles. Yeah, Swarmlord, you can hit the vehicle. They'd run away and drive away. It's really stupid. Your army just is it's Tyranids about most of your codex. About 30 units suck. The other half can't do anything against vehicles, and you sit there and, as I said earlier, you spam the same units. Tyranids just have trouble. As soon as you start talking 6-7 tanks, we just start having trouble with that. Even with 9 Hive Guard, I'll sit there and play a Mech Guard player and be like, yeah, kill that Vendetta, yeah, kill that Chimera, yeah. Our full spam of Hive Guard is just enough anti-tank to tango with some of the bigger lists. Yeah, so when I go to a tournament, to finish up this video, I bring the list that should be able to beat Space Marines, IG, Wolves, Blood Angels, because that's what I expect to match up against, because that's what seems to be the tier 1, everyone's playing them. If I could bring an army and play 3-4 games against the armies my list is expected to kill, I can do rather well in the tournament. Yeah, there'll be certain matchups where I look at the board, I look at the mission, oh, single objective against IG, well, this is a draw in my favor if I can even, like, manage to survive. So, am I going to rush the guy? Probably not. Is he going to rush me? Yeah, probably, and I'll have to deal with that as it comes. It's not even being over-the-top pessimistic, it's just, certain things are just stupid to try. I've lost a few tournament games where I'm sitting there like, I know I can get that objective, I know I can get it, and I'll sit there and be like greedy or try and like rush or do something like rash with Tyranids, and the army's just, you just can't do certain things. Like in 4th edition, it was you run around with invincible monstrous creature spam. This edition, I can have a list with 51 toughness 6 wounds, and I can get wiped off the table by shooting by a Razor Wolf player. He'll sit there and be like, 3 Trigons? Watch what 15 missiles and 5-6 last cannons do to you every turn. Oh, and then Typhoon missiles, so you're talking 20 missiles. Just watch how, yeah, and Trigons are that big, you're not getting cover. I've played against my buddy Paul, and we've had one game where he's killed all 3 Trigons in one go of shooting on turn 1, and I've just said, hey Paul, let's redo that. I'm gonna deep strike him this game. There's just certain things that are just kind of retarded. So, same thing almost with Dark Elder. You can play smart and still win. It's just you just gotta understand the limit of the codex. The codex has limits. Yeah. All right. So in the second video, I'll talk about the list for 1850 that I'm going to try out, and also I'll talk about like Team Poland's list and a few of the ETC Tyranid lists, and overall just other Tyranid players and what I see other people doing and how they're faring. Alright, so on to part 2, guys.